Chapter 13. Let the games begin. So, let me get this straight, Ava says, stepping away from the crowd. The man who wanted our suitcase in the future is the same man who broke King Arthur's sword in the past? Yes, Chase says, and that means he most definitely isn't a good guy. We need to tell Merlin he's here. Before they can move, brum, 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 a loud trumpet blows. A hush falls over the crowd as a white horse trots onto the field. A kind-faced young man in a gold crown waves from the horse's back. "Long live King Arthur!" the crowd shouts. Chase can't help it. He gasps. Never in his wildest dreams could he have imagined standing under the same sky as the real King Arthur. As the king climbs down from the horse, the two knights they'd overheard earlier place a large golden box next to him. Chase spots the man with the two different colored eyes watching from beside a tree. "Excalibur! Excalibur!" the crowd cheers. Arthur opens the box. He lifts out the sword, but it's only the blade. Arthur's jaw drops. Then he gently places the blade back in the box. King Arthur strides to the center of the field. He holds a shield in one hand and pulls a regular-looking sword from the side of his belt. His eyes narrow. "I will find out who broke Excalibur, but first I will battle my opponents as planned. Let the tournament begin." 3 men line up across from the king. Then a 4th man steps forward. He towers over everyone else. His shoulders are as wide as 2 regular-sized men. "That must be Big Rob," Ava whispers. Chase nods. King Arthur begins to battle the first opponent. He swings and thrusts with his sword. The blades and shields clang and clash until the king knocks the sword out of the man's hand. The man bows and the crowd cheers. This happens again with the second opponent and with the third. Chase and Ava look at each other. Maybe the king will win after all. Finally, Big Rob steps up to take his turn. The crowd goes quiet. The sword fight starts out like the others. In less than a minute, though, the king's sword is flung from his hand, and Big Rob keeps swinging. Arthur raises his shield to protect himself. Chase starts to panic. He scans the crowd. The 2 knights have disappeared. The man from the flea market is still by the tree, smiling as he watches the battle. Where is Merlin? Clash. Big Rob takes a chunk out of the king's shield. Chase turns to his sister and holds up the hilt. It's time to mess with the timeline. Chapter 14, The Battle. Chase darts through the crowd, keeping one eye on the action and the other on the box with Excalibur's blade in it. King Arthur rolls out of the way just as Big Rob's sword strikes the ground inches from Arthur's head. The man with the different colored eyes is next to the box now, but he is looking the other way. Chase should still be able to grab the blade. Holding his breath, Chase brushes his fingers against the cold steel. But before he can get a solid grip on it, the man steps between him and the box. "What do you think you're doing?" he asks. Then he spots the hilt in Chase's hand, and his eyes go wide. "It was you," the man shouts. "You stole my suitcase." Chase turns to run, but the man grabs him by the collar. Chase has to think fast. He raises his arms over his head. The poofy shirt he's wearing slides right off. Chase grabs the blade before the man can react. He starts running. The blade is so heavy, he needs both hands to carry it. Chase risks a glance over his shoulder. The man is only a few steps behind. Ava appears at Chase's side. The suitcase bangs against her legs and she stumbles. Chase catches her just as a hand grazes his neck. But before the man can get a firm grip, Merlin is between them. "Sorry I'm late," the wizard says, throwing his hands up to the sky. A loud thunderclap fills the air, followed by a plume of smoke. It looks like Merlin does know a real magic trick or two. People begin running in all directions. In the chaos, the man from the flea market is swallowed up by the crowd and the smoke. But the battle between King Arthur and Big Rob rages on. Big Rob brings down his sword. The king's shield goes flying. Chase quickly thrusts the hilt and blade at Merlin. Attach them, please. A yellow glow rises up from the wizard's hands, but nothing else happens. He shakes his head. My magic is not strong enough. Chase is stunned. On the field, Big Rob raises his sword and is about to strike. Chase tugs on Merlin's long robe, but King Arthur needs Excalibur right now. Merlin hands the blade to Chase and the hilt to Ava. I cannot do it, he tells them, but you can. Chase and Ava begin to argue with the wizard. Then Chase thinks of how well he and Ava worked together at the flea market that morning. As though reading his mind, Ava says, we're a team. Chase brings the end of the blade down onto the hilt. Time seems to slow. They hold their breath as the hilt and the blade knit together, strands of steel twisting and blending into one. For an instant, the whole sword glows red, then hardens. Excalibur is whole again. How did we do that? Ava asks in a whisper. I have no idea, Chase says. We can figure that out later. But now, he whirls around and shouts, catch! Then he lobs the sword right at King Arthur. In a little bit, we'll read Saving a King, Chapter 15.